Well, all righty. How are you doing? This is S. Anthony Thomas. This is the S. Anthony Thomas Show, episode number 187. You know what's weird about I've been podcasting for such a long period of time. I've gotten to the point now where I know that there are certain things that I'll put a whole show together about what I want to talk about. Something will happen, and it will basically say to my show, whatever you prepared, whatever script you wrote, get that crap out of here. We're talking about this. And you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about what everybody else is talking about. The same thing. The CEO that got taken out, the healthcare CEO that got taken out. And if you didn't know anything about the healthcare system in the United States of America, you would see a person get taken out like that and you would be outraged. You would feel so bad. You would feel so bad for the family. They would be outraged and everybody would be shocked. But they have the exact opposite feeling about this cat. Why? Why do they have the exact opposite feeling about this cat? I'll tell you why. He was a healthcare executive for a company that did the most rejecting of people needing healthcare. That's what he did. If a dog got shot, most people would freak out. What? Not the dog. This guy gets it. Do. Anybody want sandwiches? And that's what happened on the internet. There's people actually making fun of this cat because of what healthcare companies have done to people over the course of time. You can look at any job, and there's good people and there's bad people. There's people that help out and people that don't help out. There's good police officers, bad police officers, good doctors, bad doctors. But when people think of healthcare companies, you very rarely hear anybody say anything good. You never hear anybody have any really good stories. Why? Because a lot of times they're not. Imagine if you have a company that takes all this money in from you for a long period of time. And when you need them the most, the one thing they're supposed to do, which is help you at the worst possible moment in your life, you're sick, your wife's sick, your kid's sick, a relative is sick, somebody's sick. They may even be going away, if you understand what I'm saying. And these companies, allegedly, I have to say that because I don't want to get sued, literally spend a lot of time not trying to figure out how to help a person, figure out how to not help a person. Think about this. This is not like someone asking you to go to the airport where they could just catch an Uber, but they don't feel like it, or they have 15 other friends they can ask and you're tired. No, no, no. This is somebody having a disease that will take them away. Somebody having an injury that will worsen their lives. And they paid for years, years, and years when they didn't have health problems. They were paying for years and years. And when they needed the help, no. Oh, we would be able to help you, but it says here, right here, that this piece of paper has to be pristine. It has to have accurate information. And you wrote than, THAN, and instead of then, THEN, which technically is incorrect information. So I'm sorry. You're going to have to find a way to reattach your grandmom's arm to her shoulder on your own because we can't authorize this. You see, if you had done this paper correctly, then THEN, we could help you. But you didn't, so we're not gonna do it. So sorry. Wish we could. So if that's your sole purpose of doing things, then what the heck do you think people are going to are going to think about you? All these people getting hurt, all these people getting turned down when they need you the most. That's why I'm going to call this episode Heroes, Villains, and Healthcare. Because a lot of times the villain is a healthcare company. They're between you and the doctor. You know how many doctors have sent letters to healthcare companies when they were mad at them because they wanted to help the patient but couldn't because the health insurance company wouldn't do their jobs? Hmm? Imagine if other things in your life were just like that. Imagine if other parts of your life were like that, where you put so much time in and they decide, oh, we're going to find an way to arbitrarily stop you from having the things that you need. Imagine that. Imagine you worked all week, right? You're at a job, you're at a labor intensive job, you're working at a factory. It's the last week. You got that last push. Come on, everybody. Push as hard as you can. This is the last week. If we get these orders out, it's going to be great and fantastic and incredible. We're going to have quadruple bonuses and quintuple bonuses, octuple bonuses for everybody in here. Everybody work hard, double overtime, quadruple overtime, infinity overtime. If you work hard, we're going to hook you up. Yes. And then you show up to pick up your check and you're expecting, let's just pick a random number, $1,000 on that check. Just pick a random number, right? And you're thinking, man, this is going to be great. Normally I get 500. I'm about to get a grand. I'm going to be able to get my daughter this, to get the PlayStation, or whatever the crap you're deciding you want to buy or whatever it. Obviously, PlayStations cost more than that, but you get the point. Stop. Don't be sticklers. And all of that crap, right? And you look at your check, and instead of $1,000, it says $300. And you're thinking, whoa, this has got to be a mistake. I put in quadruple overtime and quintuple overtime and octuple overtime. How come my check is so small? Well, you were late. I was 3 minutes late because I couldn't find a parking spot. Let me ask you a question. Are you supposed to work a 12-hour shift? Yes. Did you work a 12-hour shift? Well, yes, I did. No, you were late for 3 minutes. So you were less than a 12-hour shift. 3 minutes less. So you didn't work that 12-hour shift, did ya? Well, technically, well, the job says you have to be here at a certain time. You were late, and it says in your employment contract that we can dock your check. But it doesn't say how much we can dock your check. It just says that we can dock your check, which means we get to decide how much to dock your check. And we've decided to dock your $1,000 check, $700. That's ridiculous, man. It'd be different if you took like 50 bucks or 20 bucks or something like that. How could you do that? Because we can. And we just got $1,000 of work out of you for $700. And the fact that you just yelled at me just now, I'm taking another 250. Here's 50 bucks from my wallet. See you on Monday. We wouldn't put up with that, would we? Just imagine being in a situation where you go to a job and your job is to find ways because you know if you're trying to stop from paying somebody, you're not trying to stop paying somebody's bill if it's inexpensive. If it was like when I went to the hospital and all I had was a couple of tests and some aspirin or something like that, and my bill would have been like $600. Hey, oh, well, you don't mind paying? It's only $600. Hey, okay, but what about you got something wrong with you? What about it's life threatening? Somebody got some kind of disease, and all of a sudden it's not 650 bucks is 50,000 or 100,000 or 200,000 because of something life threatening. And they paid for years for this service. And you decided, oh no, we're not paying that. In this particular case, that person is not a hero. That person is a villain. That person's job is to be a villain. Why would you do that? On the other side of the spectrum, I think of heroes, my friends. Heroes. First responders, people that work in an ambulance. Think about it. Their job is to save lives. They probably do that dozens of times a day. People that would have died if they hadn't done their job, and they don't get paid that much. And sometimes they got to go into dangerous circumstances. Sometimes they got to run up steps and carry people that are way too heavy. And sometimes they got to deal with irate people and people fighting and all that kind of crap. And they go in there and they go in there and they go in and they grab the person and they save the person. They're in there doing the chest compressions and checking and vital work, all that crap to save lives every day. Their daily job is to be a hero. Ever ridden in an ambulance? My 50 plus years on the planet, I've been in a couple of ambulances. Nothing life threatening, fortunately. But one time I didn't know it wasn't. You know what's interesting though? If you're in an ambulance, you want the people in the ambulance, you want to see them nice and chill, right? Because when they take you in the ambulance, they're all, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to put this tube in that and we're going to do that. We're going to pump that and check that. And they're all ready to go because they don't know whether or not what you have is life threatening. So they're going to act as if it could possibly be life threatening. And then when they run all the tests and realize, maybe you're dehydrated. Maybe your electrolytes are off. You're not going to croak. Nothing's going to happen. It is going to take you to the hospital, put some potassium and some magnesium in you, or pump some fluids into you or something like that. Maybe you got sick. Maybe you had a upset stomach and you got rid of too much fluid. Maybe some medicine sucked something out of you. Whatever. right? But they now know by checking you, yeah, not gonna die. So they, right? You want them to be nice and calm. I was in an ambulance. I was dehydrated because I had food poisoning, and I pushed every bit of liquid out of my body. I was severely dehydrated. I was spacey and dopey, and I thought I was gonna be gone, and I was nervous. And then they ran some tests on me in the back of the ambulance, moving around like that, and you could see them once they realized what it was, they just calmed down because they now knew they have somebody in the vehicle that's not going to pass away. And they have got to see that on a regular basis. They've got to see people pass away on a regular basis. Even with their best efforts, they've got to see people pass away. And it must feel great to them to finally have somebody that day, maybe that is not going to go. So they know that this is going to be a nice ride. This is just a nice guy and he's just dehydrated. And they just started to calm down, right? And I'm looking at these dudes and they're just really calm. And because they got calm, I felt calm. Because they're not going to be like, hey, I guess this guy's, guess it's over for him, huh? Got another one that's not going to make it, huh? But no, they're calm because you're going to be cool and you relax. You're looking at them because that's what you want to see. Even if you're a kid and your parents, you know what I'm talking about. You have your parents. And you can tell when your parents are upset. You know when they're not feeling well, right? You know when your parents are sick, right? They're your heroes. And to you as a kid, they're your heroes. They are heroes. Why? They feed you, they clothe you, they teach you how to go to the bathroom, they help you learn, they help you do your homework, they help you how to walk, they help you how to be a responsible human being. They protect you because as a kid, you know daggone well, you spend most of your time trying to bust yourself up doing something stupid, and they protect you. They are heroes, my friend. And that's what they feel like to you because that's what they are to you. So you know when they're sick. You know when they're having an argument. You just know that there's something bad going on in the house. You don't know what it is, but you know something bad's going on and it makes you feel uncomfortable. Ooh. You know when maybe if you lived in a household where you had some struggling times financially, I've been in that situation a billion and a half years ago. I remember that as a kid, where sometimes maybe a bill may or may not get paid, or maybe this doesn't happen, or maybe you can go on that trip, or maybe you can't, or maybe they're going for that raise. They really need that raise because the bills are piling up. If they get that raise, they'll be able to get out of the hole, and they're nervous. Your dad is nervous, or your mom is nervous, or they're both nervous because that thing is coming. That bill is coming, right? Ever been in a situation where you're doing okay, but you're one emergency away from being messed up badly, right? You're one emergency away. And it doesn't even have to be a big emergency. It could be something as simple as you have a problem with the car and you need to get the car fixed and it's going to cost $700. You don't have $700. And then that starts a whole roll of things. Now you got to catch your cab or catch your bus to get to work, which means you got to go to bed earlier, get up earlier. You still got to help the kids with the homework. You still got to cook dinner. And now you just added another hour and a half, 2 hours to your trip because the car's broken down. And you show up late. And now your boss is mad at you. They know you're having a problem with the car, but they're still mad at you. And they hold that against you for a while. And just that one thing messes you up. I, as an unmarried person, was in a situation like that in Los Angeles, where I had a situation where there was a bill coming up, and I took the car to the mechanic, and I was sitting there dreading, and I had a number in my head. And I said, if the bill is within that number, when they take a look at the car, if what the repair cost is within that number, I'm gonna be fine because I put aside some money for the repair for the car, and I'm sitting there, and I gotta wait behind car after car after car after car. Oh, I'm just nervous. That feeling is the same feeling you had when you were a kid, when your parents were waiting to find out if they got that raise, if they were going to get that overtime, if they were going to get that job, if they were going to keep that job. We're going to go back to the car dealership. I'm sitting there and I'm nervous. Man, I gotta finally see him pull my car in. I'm like, okay, watching the car go up. And they close the thing and you all these tools going and things getting taken off. Because if it costs more than that number I had, I'm not going to be able to get it fixed. I'm gonna have to take it home and leave the car there until I can make get the whatever the difference is. What he says in that other room is going to change my life in a bit of in some kind of way. It's going to affect my life in some kind of way, negatively or positively. I don't know. Opens back up. I see the car coming back down. Guy hasn't changed his expression, so I have no idea what he's going to say. And he comes back in, Mr. Thomas, it was just. And when a mechanic says it was just, and he starts smiling, you still don't know what the hell's going on, right? And Mr. Thomas, as it turns out, it was just a fladoop de boop boop. And yeah, I can get. I just fixed it. I figured it only cost. The part was only $50, and we have a $50 minimum because we do 50. So it's only going to cost you $125. I already did it. I figured you'd pay for it, and he was right because the number I had was 400, and I only needed 125. Back to the parents. You're sitting there watching them, right? And maybe we'll say for the sake of argument, it's your mom and she's looking for this promotion. She wants to be a manager at the office because if she gets a manager at the office, it's a 30% raise. That's a lifestyle change. Is your hero gonna come through in the clutch? It's like watching a Marvel movie, right? Except in the Marvel movie, Superman's gonna beat whatever that other thing. You know what's gonna happen, but you don't know here. And she's your hero, or he's your hero, or they're your heroes and you're watching, and she has not changed her expression. She has not changed her expression. She hung up the phone. She has not changed her expression. Guess who's the new manager of Floop De Floop? And I start Monday. Yeah, bum, 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 bum. It's fantastic. If you have an opportunity to be a hero or a villain to someone, don't you think the best case scenario would be to be the hero to somebody, right? Your parents are constantly in a constant state of wanting to be a hero to you. Even when you're an older person, your parent will always call you up. How you doing? Do you need anything? You're like, no, I don't need anything. I'm okay. You sure you don't need anything? You go to your mom's house. You go to your parents' house. You go to your grandparents' house if you're still fortunate to have enough to have them. And all of a sudden they're trying to put food in your face, even though you got a job and a car and you're making more money than them. They're still trying to feed you, right? They're doing everything except trying to burp you, even though you're bigger than they are. Because that's how parents are, and that's how grandparents are. Heck, I'm an uncle, and I'm the same way when the kids show up, even though they're grown-ups. Because that's what you do. If you have the choice to be a hero or a villain, it's always best to choose to be the hero to somebody. So think about the motivation between the two jobs I used as an example. The person who works at the healthcare company sits there, and he or she knows that when they look down at that paper and they're trying to find ways to not pay for the bill for this person, they know what's happening. They know that this person is sick. They know that, yes, they can make that person up there more money or the person up top saying, you need to do this. They know what they're doing. To do this means to deny someone who needs your help. And if you deny that person might not be around. That person may not exist anymore. Yes, you got a bonus, but that family didn't. That human being didn't. Their children didn't. Their friends didn't. Just like anything else, human beings are creatures of habit. The first few times, the first month, the first year, you might be sitting there feeling so bad, knowing, oh, you feel like crushing. Oh man, I know I just denied all these people, and I know a whole lot of them are not going to be around next year or next month or next week or 2 years from now, and you feel crushed. But just like anything else, human beings are creatures of habit, and you become desensitized. When he becomes incentivized, you become desensitized, and all of a sudden, yeah, that grandmother's not gonna up. We'll just delay this long enough. I mean, if she's not around, We don't have to pay. Oh, that's too bad. That's condolences. Send out some cheap flowers. Yeah, all that crap. On the other side, you got the people who are working in the, like I said, working in the ambulance. They go out there and their mission. I'm going to go out there today, and I know I'm going to see a lot of pain and destruction and devastation and crying and sorrow and fear, but I'm going to do everything I can to make sure, with all my might, with all the power I have, with every bit of knowledge and training I have, I'm gonna do everything I have to make sure this is another day where everybody I pick up goes home. Everybody I pick up goes home. Every decision I make today when I go out to work is to try to make sure that that person on that gurney in my ambulance goes home at some point alive. Those are two completely different motivations. What do you think if an ambulance driver got unalived? Do you think the people would be uh, they would care about that, wouldn't they? You think there would be people online going, no. Why? Because the person who's doing the insurance thing, who's denying people for reasons that don't make sense, who's making money off denying people, they fall into the villain category. The ambulance driver, the parent, they fall into the hero category. That's why. So just remember, if you have the option, the opportunity to affect somebody's life in one way or the other, I'm sure I don't have to tell you this. Obviously, always choose to be the hero and not the villain. You dig? Cool. All right, folks, this has been episode number 187 of the S. Anthony Thomas Show. Obviously, right now I'm doing a video component. Some of you are going to be hearing just the audio. If you want the video of this podcast, it will be on Spotify, and it will also be on my YouTube channel, which is my YouTube channel, as you can see up there in the corner. I'm new to video. I'm actually pointing in the wrong direction. Up there in the corner, Mr. S. Anthony Thomas. That's the YouTube channel. The podcast is called The S. Anthony Thomas Show. That's available everywhere. Hosted on Spotify, but everywhere. I have another podcast called S. Anthony Says. Make sure you go check that out. And basically, just Google my name. All my stuff is online. You know, I have podcasts, merch, and all that kind of crap. Check that out as well. So, once again, thank you for coming by, my friends. Thank you for watching the show. Thank you for listening. And I will see you again next time, okay? Much love to you all, my friends. Take care.